Jerusalem at sunset. The city that's seen more history than anywhere else on earth. Golden light hits those ancient stone walls, and there's this hill rising up, the Mount of Olives. It's covered in old olive trees and white burial stones, just like it has been for thousands of years. This place has watched empires come and go. Wars, peace, countless generations. It's seen it all. But here's the thing that's got everyone talking right now. Religious leaders, scientists, people who study ancient sites, they're all saying the same thing. Something's happening up there. And it's not normal. We're talking about cracks appearing in the ground. Not old ones from some earthquake decades ago, brand new splits in the earth. Stone blocks are moving. Gaps are opening up where the ground used to be solid. You can walk up there today and see it yourself. And if you know anything about ancient predictions, well, it's pretty unsettling. But before we get into what this might mean, and trust me, the theories will blow your mind, hit that subscribe button. Because this story is just getting started, and you won't want to miss what happens next. Now here's where it gets really wild. We're talking about a 2,500-year-old prediction that seems to be coming true right before our eyes. There's this ancient prophet named Zechariah who wrote something incredible. He said that one day, someone's feet would stand on the Mount of Olives, and when that happens, the mountain would literally split in half east to west, creating a huge valley. The exact words from Zechariah, chapter 14, verse 4. This isn't some vague poem or riddle. We're talking about specific details, the exact mountain, which direction it splits, everything. For hundreds of years, people have read these words in churches and synagogues. But now, with these new cracks showing up and the ground actually shifting, it's starting to feel less like ancient history and more like tomorrow's breaking news. Here's what makes this place so special. The Mount of Olives isn't just any hill. It's one of the most sacred spots on the planet. For Jewish families, it's been the ultimate resting place for over 3,000 years. Kings, religious leaders, regular people, they've all chosen to be buried here because of what it represents. And get this, all those graves face toward the Temple Mount. Why? Because they believe that when the Messiah comes, the dead will rise again, starting right here on this mountain. We're talking about 150,000 graves covering the hillside like a sea of white stone. But it's not just important to Jewish people. For Christians, this mountain is where some of the biggest moments in Jesus' story happened. This is where he taught his followers about the end of the world, where he prayed before he was killed, and here's the kicker, where he went up to heaven. The Bible even says angels promised he'd come back the exact same way he left. And where did he leave from? You guessed it, the Mount of Olives. Now check this out. Right across from the mountain, there's this gate called the Golden Gate. It's the only entrance that goes straight to the Temple Mount. But here's the crazy part, it's been sealed shut for almost 500 years. Why? Some say a Turkish ruler closed it to stop the Jewish Messiah from coming through. He even put a Muslim cemetery right in front of it, thinking that would block any religious leader from passing through. But ancient predictions say the gate will stay closed until the right person comes. And remember Zechariah's vision? He saw a massive valley opening up from the Mount of Olives, pointing straight toward the city. When that moment arrives, that sealed gate won't matter anymore. But here's where things get really interesting. We're not just talking about religious beliefs here. There's actual science backing this up. The Mount of Olives sits right on top of a huge fault line that runs from the Jordan Valley underneath Jerusalem. And recently, geologists and land surveyors in Israel are reporting something they've never seen before, brand new cracks appearing on the mountain. These aren't old damage from some earthquake back in 1927. We're talking about fresh splits that are getting wider and causing some serious concern among the experts. One Israeli geologist said something that'll give you chills. The mountain is moving in ways we haven't seen before. The changes are small, but they're definitely real. And people are taking notice. Religious leaders in Jerusalem are telling their followers that signs are pointing to something big coming. Archaeologists who've been working on this mountain for decades are quietly admitting that the timing of all this is pretty unsettling. One religious scholar reportedly said in a private meeting something that'll stick with you. The cracks aren't just in the rocks. They're in history itself. We're getting close. Even scientists who don't necessarily believe in prophecies are getting nervous. Experts on Jerusalem's history are saying that what's happening to this mountain is somehow connected to the city's future. And here's something wild. Throughout the Bible, earthquakes always show up when something huge is about to happen. Think about it. When God came down on Mount Sinai, the whole mountain shook like crazy. When Jesus died on the cross, the Bible says the earth shook so hard that rocks split open and graves cracked. If these stories are true, then when Jesus comes back, there's going to be another earthquake. And this one? It's going to be so powerful it splits the Mount of Olives in half, opens that sealed gate, and literally changes the shape of Jerusalem forever. Here's something that'll blow your mind. Back in the 1970s, some developers wanted to build a hotel on the mountain. But when they did geological surveys, they had to stop the project. Why? The rock underneath was already cracked and unstable. Even 50 years ago, the warning signs were there. Now, decades later, those cracks are wider, more obvious, and a lot more worrying. So here's where we stand. The ancient prediction is crystal clear. The fault line is absolutely real. The cracks are right there for anyone to see. And everyone who studies this mountain, religious leaders, archaeologists, scientists, they're all starting to ask the same question. Could we be the generation that actually sees this mountain split apart? Nobody knows exactly when it'll happen, but the evidence keeps piling up. The predictions are still there, written thousands of years ago. The fault line is waiting underneath. The mountain is getting ready. And somewhere out there, beyond what we can see, something big is coming. When that day arrives, the mountain will split open. A valley will appear where solid rock used to be. And the whole world will be watching, some in amazement, some in fear. But those who've been waiting, they'll finally see what they've been hoping for all along.